Okay, that's
Hopefully it's not a photo.
yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
We don't need to do anything, by the way, with the camera.
Mhm.
Like,
We don't need to look into it.
yeah, like maybe I don't even publish it, like, but
Yeah.
just for since we meet, we can do it, and then maybe could also be that we just leave like a little skit.
Mhm.
Maybe there is some skit that is good or whatever.
Yeah, of course. What you prefer? I guess it's your podcast.
I guess we need to find strike a balance between just chatting
And political extremist beliefs.
like political. No, like Marshall.
Huh?
So-
Nothing. Just mix it.
Exactly. No, for example, also, but there is Masha, which is someone who doesn't know you. Like, for example, like I don't need you to present yourself to myself,
Okay.
but maybe for someone who is watching, you can, and I guess you can do it to Masha or to the camera. Or
Yeah, I guess.
so,
So I'm Nicola, same name as him. Okay. Yeah. Basically, I'm a software engineer. I have 5 years of experience. I work full stack, backend heavy. I use different languages, mostly Node.js, Next.js, React, and those kind of things. But I also work with Postgres, Python, and .NET. Basically, that's just a brief overview. I think it's good.
yeah, this is your professional self and yourself, like personal self.
Of course. Yeah, that's also important. Sometimes we forgot.
Masha was like, we need to hire you. No, it's not.
So I'm just a 24-year-old guy. I play guitar. I go to the gym, and I also
You're from Italy, right? Yeah.
And I am from Italy, of course. I am close to Venice. Where I live is close to Venice. And yeah, basically that's it. I'm looking for other places to live in. And yeah, basically that's it.
Okay. Now you are in Warsaw.
Exactly. I've been wanting to visit Warsaw just for the sake of it. I think it's a good location to relocate, tax friendly, all the amenities that you need. It's still in Europe. It's close by, let's say. So it could be a good candidate to relocate. And now that I've been here, it definitely is a candidate.
How many days have you spent in Poland in your life?
In Poland, in my whole life, well, how many days I've been traveling? 4 days. Yeah, okay, so it's 4 days. Okay.
So this was your first time in Poland?
My first time in Poland.
And the only city you've seen so far is Warsaw?
Sorry?
The only city you've seen so far in Poland is Warsaw?
It is Warsaw. Tomorrow I'm taking a train. I'm going to Krakow. And I'm going to see Krakow too.
Yeah. And so the first impression, you said you liked it. Have you seen already other cities or places that you are considering moving to?
Well, I've been to Belgrade. I've also been to Amsterdam. But let's start with Belgrade. Belgrade is, I would say, more laid back than Warsaw.
Yeah.
What I mean is, well, if you consider like the average 20-ish-year-old guy, you're not going to think that Belgrade is the place for a guy like that. Basically, there are some clubs, but overall the city is quite laid back. Basically, you don't have much to do other than go clubbing, for instance. For what I saw, of course. On the contrary, Amsterdam, you have a lot of things to do, but like overall, I did not like too much the city. Personally, I'm a laid-back guy. I'm 20-ish-year-old.
24, right?
24, exactly. But, I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to go into nightclubs every night. Let's say, like, I grew past that. Let's call it like that. So, Amsterdam is not the place for me. It is more toward Belgrade, but I would like to have something in between. And Warsaw.
But wait. Tell me, what did you find in Amsterdam, for example, that Yeah, you said Belgrade, you only have clubbing, and in Amsterdam, what else do you have?
Well, you do of course have clubbing, but you also have like it's more social as a city. Let's put it like that. Basically, you go to buy something, and the people present themselves as nicer people. It's basically it's all culture,
More
basically,
approachable.
but they are more approachable. So
Belgrade, they're nice. I think like Serbian are very
Yes.
welcoming.
they are nice, but it's a different culture.
Yeah.
Like I can give an example. It's just those little things, but you feel them. So basically, I bought a Stroops bottle. Like it's basically
Sir.
tea. Yes,
Yeah.
it's basically a dessert. It's made with caramel inside and two wafers. Basically, it's round, it's big. So I had one of these, and it was, well, of course, it made me thirsty. So I went into another shop and bought a bottle of water. And the guys was super friendly and said, "Yeah, enjoy your Stroop bottle." And yeah, it was very welcoming. So it's those little things. I believe Amsterdam is more like friendly in that meaning.
Yeah,
Say.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is also like a Western world and Eastern European world. Like
Yeah.
here, I would say like the West is a bit more. Western Europe is a bit more like the US, where like people are more friendly.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that they are nicer. For me, like I mean, if you go after the surface,
Yeah, of course.
and in Eastern Europe or like this Central Europe, whatever, people tend to be a bit more like upfront. But I would say, like for example, between Serbia and Poland, I think Serbia is quite warm also. Like because it's the Balkans. I think the Balkans is a bit like southern Italy in a way.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. Yeah.
Have you been to like Romania or Albania or this places?
No, I've been to Croatia. Yeah, I've been to Slovenia, and yeah, of course, to Serbia. No, I haven't been like to the southern Balkans yet. I'm planning to go.
That's good. But yeah, Belgrade, I've only been once. I really liked it, to be honest. Like, I like that it's a bit more historical also than Warsaw, for example. And I don't know, it has a certain charm. It was like the capital of Yugoslavia. So I don't know, it's quite green. It gives me a bit like Italy vibes.
Yeah,
Like you can just like sit in a coffee shop on a street and it's kind of like, slow pace, as you were saying,
Yeah.
a bit more chill.
Yeah. What I felt like is that, like the sitting on a bar or something like that is, well, it's less accessible than in Warsaw. What I'm trying to say is, Warsaw is bigger. You have more places like that. Belgrade, I think they are more concentrated, but again, my view is biased. I've been a week there. I might have missed something.
Yeah, I've been even less than a week. So I don't know actually. Could be though.
But the center is very cool.
Yeah, I was just in the center, for example. No, actually, I went walking to the this communist building. It's like two towers with something in between.
I think I missed it. How could I miss it?
I mean, because it's a bit outside. I think it's. I don't know if it is. No, Zapier is here. I don't know if it is also Zapier. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, the center maybe it's more concentrated in the center, whereas here maybe it's a bit more spread out. Yeah. And you would see yourself like moving into a place like this, or what are you looking for right now?
So I would say Belgrade. Let's start with Belgrade. Belgrade, I think it could be a candidate to move. But again, as I said, it is laid back. Maybe it is too much for a 20-year-old like me.
But I mean, it's also like a party city. But you say it's either laid back or party.
Yeah, exactly. It's either like 0 or 100.
Yeah.
You cannot go in between. Warsaw is more accessible in this context, let's say. But there are a couple other places I'm planning to visit. So there is Montenegro, specifically like Tivat and basically all the cities around that area. And there's also Cyprus. Then there could be like let's call it Plan D. There's no reason to call it like that, but I've been already there and I want to see other places first before making my final decision, which is Malta.
Malta.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is also a pretty interesting country. I heard of a friend who basically does not pay the usual 35% tax. It pays around 5% tax. So it's pretty interesting, but yeah, I have to understand better how it does it.
What about Montenegro?
Montenegro is also pretty interesting. I think it's 15% tax.
But you're talking about
Of course.
or corporate tax.
This is corporate tax. This is corporate tax, not personal income tax. But in the case of Malta, I already know I will be paying 35% because of the sole proprietorship. In Montenegro, ideally, it should be different. It should be the 15%, from what I understood.
But how would you, like, what would be the setup?
The setup will be ideally a company. If that specific country state allows you to be a sole proprietorship, having the corporate income tax as your personal income tax, then is that.
No, but usually they are different.
Usually they are,
Like
but
everywhere. Or in this specific case, no.
I think they might not be. I'm not qualified to say that. I mean, I'm trying to inform myself online, but there are a lot of sources. They change perhaps. So you never have like an accurate information unless you basically contact someone, which is what we're going to do next.
You can try also ChatGPT 01 Pro Deep Research.
Okay.
You get it with the $200 per month version,
Okay.
but it's good. Like the output is good. I wouldn't say it's the same as professional, but I mean it's cheaper, of course, because you have it for a month, and it requires more time from your side. Like you need to read more and to get to what you want, whereas a professional can get to there faster. But I mean, professionals are also quite expensive, of course.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to like move forward, I mean, this is mostly what I do. Like actually, like what I do research, then share it in the content. Like that's more or less what I do. But Cyprus, yeah, it is tax efficient. I think Montenegro can also be tax efficient, as we're saying. I don't know exactly how, but it can. Malta also, I think Malta is a bit more complicated. 35 is not low.
Yeah.
But you would be okay paying that.
I will not.
Ah.
I will not, of course.
So only if you can go.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
better.
It is. If it's the 5%, then it's good. What I can say about Malta is that it's a 20-kilometer by 10 island. Basically, you go there 2 weeks, you solve it all. So, I mean, I know what I'm going to find if I want to move there, but I'm not sure that would be my first decision. That's basically what I'm trying to say. There are a lot of cool things to see.
Malta.
Yeah, but you see them once.
It's also an island, no?
It's an island, yeah.
Island have like pros and cons. For me, I'm a bit anti-island because you're then isolated. I don't know. Can be like Cyprus also. Cyprus, I think it's cool, but it's an island. It's a bit isolated.
Yeah.
Also, as far as I heard, there is some degree of I don't want people from Cyprus to hate. I've been there. I like it a lot. Like I also like the food in Cyprus. It's nice, like Mediterranean, like Greece. Between Greece and Turkey, it's pretty nice. And the seaside is beautiful in Cyprus, like nice beaches and stuff like that. Weather is good. In summer, it gets hot.
Yeah.
It is not too expensive, but also not the cheapest. But I heard like if you want to settle, like it's not so easy. Some things are a bit corrupt, kind of like police. It's not like something will happen to you, but it's not like it is EU, but not there are grades of EU kind of like transparency and stuff like that. And I think also there is kind of one of these places with two communities, like locals and expats, like a lot of expats, but they kind of live in their own bubble.
Okay.
So if you have like schools, like kids, which is not your case, but like long term, this can be an issue. But it's good. I mean, these are all good options. And Poland, I would say it's for me, I think it's the most full-fledged option. Like it's the most. I think Poland is like a Germany but better kind of. You know, it's like a real economy, big country. You have a bit of everything. Different cities also. So that's good. It is straightforward tax-wise.
Yeah.
Well connected. The weather, I mean, it's not Cyprus, of course.
What I'm also kind of afraid of is the cold. I don't stand it that well. Also, I've been to Estonia. I forgot to mention that. I've been to Estonia in November, the first days of November. While it was cold, I took a ferry to Finland, and it was worse. So basically, it wasn't like that cold, but the wind was brutal. And
from the sea, right?
Yeah. The wind was just brutal. And like I prefer being a little like warmer than colder. That's like personal.
Poland is not warm. Like in winter, it's not warm.
But it was very warm, like at noon today.
Today, no, that's warm.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's April, and also you came in a lucky week, I would say.
Yeah.
No, in winter it gets pretty cold. It can also get pretty windy. I mean, I haven't like lived here. I only spent here some time. But in winter it can get cold. I think it's. But the good thing here is that you can do a lot indoor. Like, you know, when people go to Dubai, they say, yeah, but in summer you spend time indoor. Here it's a bit the same. I think it's better than Dubai here because it's like, if it's cold, you can still go outside. It's not like you die, you know, you don't breathe. Like it's cold and maybe you take a taxi or something. Like
also public transport is
public transport also is very good actually. Yeah.
Like I paid a 24-hour ticket, something like €3.50.
Yeah.
So
no, it's good quality. Actually, I don't use it that often, but because I find it sometimes confusing. But I'm using it more now actually. Yeah. Usually I do like maybe taxi like Bolt, Uber, and this little scooter like Lime and stuff, or walk. I think it's also quite walkable.
Yeah. But I walked after you. It was a pretty good walk. I also prefer walking, but of course I'm not going to do that in winter.
No, in winter no. Yeah. But in winter, like what I was trying to say is that the houses are warm also. So if you are in the house, it's comfortable, of course. I mean, not of course. Like I would say in Southern Europe, if you are in the house in winter, it can get cold. Yeah. Like it's almost warmer outside. And other than that, also like there is a lot of indoor stuff. Like you can go to this food hall, which are indoor, and they have like, you know, maybe 20, 30 food stands, plus cinemas or like karaoke bar or whatever. And then there is tons of clubs, all kinds of clubs, not just in Belgrade is more like clubbing.
Yeah.
And here, like you have all kinds of clubs, like maybe just live music. You can go at 7, you can go at 9, there is the club where you can go at midnight, or there are even restaurants with live music. So there is a lot of stuff you can do like indoor.
Yeah, more into live music.
No, live music here a lot. One thing that I noticed is like I sent to like 2 restaurants, like 2 Polish restaurants, and both of them have live music, for example.
But I've been like yesterday, I've been to chit-chat. If you know like the brand. It's basically, I think it is like a traditional Polish chain. It's basically like, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's basically McDonald's, but better. Yeah, and for Polish food. The pierogi were very, very good. But yeah, there was live music there. So yeah.
Have you been to the Bar Mleczny?
I'm not sure where
it's like this canteen. It's like not a chain. It's like more of a public canteen. Like where the food is cheap. It's like local. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
I think it's similar. I haven't been to this particular food canteen, but I think Zapieczek is pretty similar.
Oh, maybe I heard of it. Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
it's basically a red writing as a logo.
Yeah.
Red text.
Here they call it like a milk bar. Bar Mleczny in Polish and milk bar.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. And so now you're doing this because you're checking the cities because you are remote, right?
Yeah. And basically, I'm looking around because, I've joined a remote company with, of course, a fully remote role, so I can go wherever I want.
Mhm.
And yeah, right now I'm trying to basically reduce the amount of taxes I'm paying. I think it's a fair point.
But you told me like yesterday, maybe I don't know. Maybe I will do like a short intro before the video for people to understand.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
But I mean, yesterday you joined the coaching program group call, and you mentioned that you were telling your story a bit, and you mentioned that you paid your last year you paid like 60% the tax in Italy or something.
Yeah, 60%.
How is that possible? Because 60 is insane.
It is.
Like you should be paying 60 if you make like, I don't know, 30 billion per year.
Well, they don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can break it down for you,
Yeah.
and then perhaps we can discuss some other things like why do they charge such a high tax rate. But that's it's a different matter. So basically, in Italy,
Let me just do a quick check if the light's still good or everything is fine.
This is the important part.
I saw that.
I think it's auto balancing.
Huh?
I hope it's auto balancing. So it will continue to be good.
Yeah. Because also like with the light, I mean, the view you don't see, but do you like the view?
Yeah.
Thailand is pretty dope. Huh?
Yeah. I've been to a rooftop bar early, before coming here. It was pretty good. But like later in the night, I'm going to the one where you pay like 200 euros for some caviar or things like that.
Where? Panorama.
Yeah, the panorama.
No, you can also just take a cocktail. Like you can even take a beer, to be honest.
Yeah, well, why not? I think about it.
Yeah, you want to take a caviar there?
Maybe. Why not think about it? Like, last night in Warsaw, why not?
Yeah.
Maybe later I think about it. It might not be, the best place to have a caviar.
No, I think it can be a vibe for sure. Like if you go there, I didn't go. Actually, we went there for a second date, no? And they just had cocktails.
Yeah.
Did you meet here? I forgot to ask. I was kind of curious, but
Yeah, we met here 1.5 years ago, more or less, no? Then, I mean, she's remote with a job. So we were able to kind of date with me being in Zurich and her being here, then I would be here. Or, actually, what do you do?
I'm a demo engineer,
Okay.
which sounds fancy, but I'm just like pre-configuring instances for clients to see. For example, companies looking for CRM solutions, and they have a specific process or something, and I tune this process a bit to show them how it looks at the end if they buy.
So she's like a no-code developer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. And it's remote. So it's very good.
Yeah. Here it's quite common to be remote. I feel like in IT, actually, like in Poland, people in IT a lot of them are remote, more than in other places. Because in the end, this is the good thing also, like that if you go to a country like where the cost is the remote cost, then companies are like, they don't, you cannot tell your employees you are not remote because then they're like, then I take a remote job.
Yeah.
And if you do it in Switzerland, they don't have this type of leverage because it's like, okay, we're paying you 150 to 200K to come to the office. Otherwise, we hire someone in Eastern Europe or in India. And you're like, you need to basically either say yes or find another Swiss company which will have the same type of demand. And if you check for remote, it's not easy to find something with the same salaries. So, yeah. But the skyline is really cool. For me, like when I came the first time, I didn't even know Warsaw had a skyline. Like I just came and
I came here with no expectations.
But maybe you checked on Google Images or something.
No,
really?
When I have to travel, I check for nothing.
Oh, that's good.
Exactly nothing. And when I'm on the plane, I actually look for places to go in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the main motive that's pushing me to go see other places, and of course, apart of the places I already know. For instance, I don't know, like the New York skyline. Of course, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
So that might be like a hidden motive to go to New York. But basically, I look for things later, And currently, I'm traveling not only because, of course, it is cool to travel, but I'm doing that for a purpose.
Yeah, I like it. I also travel like this, to be honest. Yeah, yeah. Mostly I traveled like for jobs. Yeah.
Okay.
I can have a job there or like an internship there or something, and then I move and then I live there. Yeah. And here I came because I was traveling like this area and there was like a cheap flight. And so I thought I never went to Poland. And then I just take a cheap flight and I arrived. My hotel had like a view. And then I was like, wow. I thought this place was like, I don't know, Eastern Europe. And then it is like very developed and so on. And yeah, it's much good.
Yeah, but I think like coming into a place you don't know with no expectation is like the best thing you can do, because you're always gonna leave surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically.
I mean, nowadays I also like to do research with my channels because I'm a bit like obsessed, to be honest. Like when I do something, I like to research. Like now I research a lot for some things, mostly because like to make the most out of it. Like if I spend 5 days in a place,
Yeah, of course.
then I don't need to research where to go, what to do. I can just enjoy. So I do that. But,
Of course. Makes sense.
but it's a good approach also.
Actually, I did this for Cyprus. I forgot to mention. I'm going to Cyprus. Like, I still have to book the tickets, but it's basically almost done.
Yeah.
I'm going to Cyprus like on June, and what I'm planning to do is basically visit the whole island, the whole shore in like 10, 12 days.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, complicated, intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to do it, and of course, I had to plan first because I had to book hotels and rent for.
Cyprus for me was like also a place where I didn't book for anything. I just checked like warm places. Maybe in I don't know where I went. Like either I went early spring or autumn, and I wanted somewhere where like go to the beach. So I saw that, and then I went just to Larnaca airport. I took an Airbnb, like a hotel nearby, and I just spent a week there. I just going to the beach and working on my laptop, and going to the hotel by the pool and working on my laptop. Didn't do anything.
I think Larnaca is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. But maybe 50 kilometers from Larnaca, you have Ayana, which is better.
For the parties.
Also for the beach, I guess. I'm not quite sure.
I think Paphos is good for the
yeah,
beach.
Paphos is also.
Ayanapa, I don't know, it's good for parties.
Yeah. That's true. I wouldn't be going there for the parties. Yeah, but of course.
And Limassol is more like the big city kind of vibe. More like casinos, companies,
Limassol is
a few skyscrapers.
it's basically between Paphos and Larnaca.
I don't know.
I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm going there.
Yeah, I mean, you should. It's I think the biggest city. No, Larnaca is the biggest city.
Maybe Nicosia. Maybe not.
No, Nicosia also is another city, but Limassol for sure is the most developed, like in terms of infrastructure, hotels, stuff like that. Yeah.
I see it for myself.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, of course.
And
we were talking about taxes like a couple of minutes ago. I'm not sure if you want to go into that topic.
For in general, you mean? For Italy.
Italy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how we escape. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always like that. You start talking about one thing and then it happens. So yeah, taxes in Italy, basically, if you are self-employed, you're going to be taxed like an employee. So for employees, you have progressive taxes, which means that if you make from a certain amount to up to a certain amount, you're going to get taxed X%. And if you do more, it's Y%. If you do more, it's Z%.
And then this percentage is just like after X, on the additional part, you pay the higher rate, right?
Yeah. It should be like that. Yeah. I never checked personally, but yeah, it should be like that. So I will be currently in the 43% tax rate, which is the highest, which is from 50K and above.
It's crazy already. Like 50K, you're already the highest. Is insane.
It's crazy. But you also have to consider that like most jobs in Italy, you're not going to get past 50K. You will get past it in software engineering, but not in all places. There are seniors that make less than 50K.
Yeah, it's a shitty ass salary market.
Exactly.
Across the board.
Exactly. Basically, everyone globally.
Poor. Yeah. Also, I think they are whatever. So.
Yeah. Let's leave it with that. But of course, on top of that, because I'm not an employee, I have to pay Social Security. So, Social Security is, I've checked earlier,
IMSS.
Yeah, basically, yes, it's IMSS. And also, I think it's also like health insurance and those kind of things. But yeah, basically what I pay. So the range, because there's a range on that also, but I'm not sure how it works. I just checked earlier. It's between like 20 and 30%.
But wait a minute, there is something wrong here. Like,
You can check.
it's because for the employees, the social security is entirely paid by the employer.
Yeah. I think it's entirely paid by the employer. Yeah.
That's the only way it can be.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
Because
yeah.
Because it's not like an employee don't have social security for sure. They need to pay it as well.
That's also, I think, the other reason because why Italy is so lowballed. Because the employer has to pay
a lot of taxes.
30% more to have the employee, and maybe some more money for maintenance, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, income tax is paid by both employer and employee usually, and then also social security on top. Okay.
But,
wow.
Yeah. So basically, the total amount is around 60%. Because from what I understand, I consulted with my tax advisor to get this like 60% number. But basically, what happens is that
it's crazy for real. That's 60%. It's for me, like it doesn't compute in my head.
For me too, but
especially like after 50K per year.
Yeah, exactly. But it's insane. I have to pay it. They're gonna come for me.
And also, especially if you live in northern Italy, like if you live like in Sicily, at least like I don't know, it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah, you could not care if you live in southern Italy because
no, but 60% is still insane. But it cannot be 60%. Like because maybe self-employed. Then self-employed is the worst thing ever in Italy. If you are after 85K.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Basically, yeah.
And you couldn't pass under the forfettario.
I will pass. Like currently, in this year,
you can just give up some income and.
I've applied for the regime forfettario.
Yeah.
But if I don't change countries, in this year, I will have to pay again the 60% because I'm going to get over that like 85K. Yeah, that's what happens.
Okay. I guess like if you manage to be under 85K, it can be decent in Italy as a self-employed.
It can be decent. The total is 30%. You have to consider that even though
it's not low, yeah.
Even though you can have like either 5% or 15% tax, then you have social security. And people forget about that.
I know.
So the total is 30%, close to 30% if you do software engineering, and you have the 15% tax. If you have the 5% tax, I'm not really sure, but it's probably worth it. Like if you live in Sicily, you're going to live like a king.
Yeah. I mean, I made this math with a friend of mine who's in Switzerland and considering going back money. And he says, if you make 85K, then with forfettario, you can get like 5K net per month, which for a lot of places in Italy is good.
Yeah, it is good. But like me, for instance, I could not apply for the 5%. Unfortunately.
You need to be outside of Italy, go back, and then it's better.
Basically, what you need to do is not have opened a sole proprietorship the year before. So it should be like the first time you open one. But the previous year, I could not apply for regime forfettario at all because I had a job that paid me more than 30K per year. So I could not apply to the regime forfettario. I could not apply to the 15% or the 5%. I had to go to the 60% straight. And this year, I applied for the 15%, but I could not get the 5% because I already opened a business, basically. So
What if you come from abroad?
I'm not really sure about that, but I think that even if I were like to close my business, go abroad and then come back, I will not be eligible for the 5% because I had opened it once.
No, let's say I go to Italy.
You go to Italy.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a business in Italy?
Actually, I did like a partita IVA
Then you cannot.
in 2018.
I think you can.
My God,
You have to ask like a tax advisor just to be sure, because I'm not a tax advisor, but I think the answer is no. I think it's
this
no.
is not tax advice.
No, of course it is no, guys. Don't trust us.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. And how do you like in general the remote stuff? Like, in a way, it for you it introduced the event wine.
Mm-hmm. You know, as a Ukrainian, where we pay 5% on income plus minimum social security, these numbers are just not even insane.
You know, I'm considering Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically for the same reason. Yeah.
I mean, it's also. Yeah. But how do you feel like with this additional complexities that remote work gives? Like,
Yeah.
finding where to live, how to pay taxes or whatever. It's a bit complicated, no?
That's like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Apart from remote work, it's not really work. It's more possibilities that open up
Yeah.
because you have remote work. I think like the challenges of remote work are actually working properly. I think these are basically the challenges of remote work that remote work introduces. But then it enables you to improve basically your tax situation. Which
What do you mean, like async? Like what challenges?
working in async, for instance, something does not work, and you have teammates from all over the world, and maybe the change was made by a guy that lives in the opposite time zone as you. So you wake up, he goes to sleep, something like that.
But in your case, like are most people in Europe, or so the company is Estonian, right? It's an European
The company is Estonian. There are like a lot of guys from Brazil.
Oh,
Yeah. There are also quite some guys in the Southeast Asia.
oh,
Yeah. But like most of my team is in Europe. So I have like less of this problem, or not really Europe, but basically the time zone of Europe. So it's less of a problem. But yeah, sometimes it happens.
then it's like written stuff, and then it's like not enough information. It's
Yeah.
slow. Feedback.
Yeah, you have to do it yourself. It's different. Like if you were to go to the office on site, you basically tap the shoulder of the colleague next to you, and you ask for what's wrong. You can't do that here. You have to find it yourself most of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
It's also like remote work gives you gives accountability a different meaning. So sometimes it's not like you have to do it. Nobody is asking you, like in a let's call it like sensible company. No, nobody is asking you to work on your days off.
Yeah.
Of course, but you will feel the accountability. It's like
Because it's a more output based than sitting on an office.
Yes, it's more output based, and you want to help. At least personally, I want to help. So if something is wrong, and it's my day off, and for some reason I see the message,
Yeah.
I'm trying to help. I will try to help.
Oh, then I mean, this is weird, like in a way, not weird, but like it means it's a very. It's a good culture, maybe like in the company.
Yeah.
People feel like this.
Yeah.
Or it's just you in the team doing this.
No, it's not only me. I think it's like a shared value.
And also, you say that like the work-life balance is good, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're working for your own company. Like it seems like this is what I do, right? I try to have a good work-life balance, kind of. I don't manage.
Are we working right now?
Okay, I try to. No, for example, like if on a Tuesday I don't want to work, I don't work.
Yeah.
And but then on the weekend, if I need to do something or it's useful to do something, I do it.
But
But because it's my company, like if it was another person company, I wouldn't do it.
I work for Toggle, and this company has a remote and accountability first policy. So basically, accountability first. They don't care how much hours you put in. They care about results. That doesn't mean that you have to work 24 hours a day. That's not what's expected of you. Like this whole cultural thing was made to have people work 8 hours or less. That's basically what it was done for, and to give people flexibility to do other things. So, for instance,
For freedom, like this is the counterpart
yeah,
of freedom.
of course. Like I go to the gym, like 3 times a week, and I go to the gym like at 4 p.m. because it's like for me it's the perfect time to go to the gym. I feel more energized at that time of the day,
Yeah.
and I just do it.
Yeah.
Something's up, I will get a notification. I will answer. If it's nothing really super important, I will say I'm at the gym. I'll come back in an hour, and it's fine. And maybe I'll give some context, some help to maybe the question I received, something like that. And then I fix it when I come home.
And like in terms of this is more for, I mean, also for me, but for who's watching, or for me, if I coach someone in general, from someone who is working a remote job, well paid, like in the realm of 6 figures, more or less, let's say, in Europe, you work as a full stack developer. You said at the beginning, with a focus on backend. What would you say, like, so how do you see the remote market right now? Is it like a good market? Is it, there are many possibilities, not a lot of possibilities?
So I haven't been following closely the market recently, but I think the overall gist has not changed. So I will tell a little bit more of the story. I think you can do a collage later of like the little parts. But basically, like I finished school. Sorry, no, let's step back a little bit. So I was still doing school. I did not go to the university. I went to high school and then to a specialized school after that, 2 years. It's basically an associate's degree in the US. I think basically that's the equivalent. So in 2021, which was like the end of my first year in this kind of school, I thought it would be very, very cool to have a remote job and go wherever I want and pay less taxes. Even before,
Wow.
I swear, even before I was thinking about this. But not super actively like I was doing like a couple of months ago, I would say. But I was thinking about it.
Because you were in Italy, maybe you had
Yeah, I already knew about like that kind of 60% tax. Yeah. That's all thanks to normal capitalists.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, you know how I started thinking about taxes, because before, like, I'm sorry, just interrupt.
Of course.
I was, I got into like the big tech type stuff, no, like FANG, Wave, like in 2016, 18, 2020, whatever. And then like all these big salaries. And then my plan was to go to the US, and maybe I checked the taxes there sometimes, and it was seemed like okay. And then like I was in big tech in Zurich, and I was like, okay, now I have a good salary, and the taxes are like reasonable. And then it's like my manager was talking to me about promotion, and I was like, okay, promotion, like let's say, I mean, maybe I could go like from 200K to let's say 300K eventually, no? And then I'm like, okay, let me check how much changes like on the tax wise, because maybe I also started seeing like some of the nomad capitalist stuff from YouTube, and then I was just, let me just check. And then like as I checked, I was like, oh fuck, like actually like the big, like, you know, the more, before I was like, wait, the more money I make, the better it is in tech. So big tech is good, Switzerland is good, blah blah blah. And then I was like, okay, let me check. And then it's like, okay, no, actually, the more money I make, Yes, I make more money still, but in kind of like a sick way. Like in the end, at some point, you are like a staff developer in big tech, and you make a lot, and then you pay like 50% of tax, and then it's like, okay, then it's not worth it for me. Like you need to work a lot to do that, and
Yeah, at some point, like it starts to.
if you think of yourself as a business, then you have. It's not just about revenue, but it's about profit at the end of the day, right? And if you're a developer, like your revenue is your salary, but then your profit is at the end of the day also dependent on how much taxes you pay and what cost you have, like of living.
Virtually, of course, cost of living.
Yeah. So these two variables, that's how I ended up like thinking about remote, because it's like, okay, it's important in the end, right? If you have the freedom to optimize these two things, like you can think about money in a different way. No? And not doesn't mean you are greedy, like that you want to make more money, but maybe you are like, I can work less to have the same lifestyle just by optimizing things in a different way instead of just
I think we have to define like working less. It depends on the company. I think like if I were to work for like a US based startup as a remote, I would be working more than in travel.
Yeah.
I think so.
But you would also be making more potentially.
Yes, of course. But like I would be working like big tech hours.
Yeah, but bro, like what I'm trying to say is because right now, kind of with your salary, let's say you make 100K for the sake of simplicity.
Yeah, of course.
And you're working in a company from Europe, European company with a good work-life balance. You said, and you have like, let's say you can go wherever you want, right? So you can have like 100K if you can go wherever you want. It's a shit ton of money. Like you want to stay in Europe, but if you want, you could also go to Asia or Latin America.
Yeah, of course.
You could also go to Africa. But let's say you want to stay in Europe, even in Poland, for example. You have a very high standard of living here with 100K. Like you are, I mean, rich is a bit subjective, but in the realm of developers, I would say you are rich if you are making 100K in Poland. To have the same lifestyle, like the same richness in Zurich, you would have to make like a lot more money, like maybe 300K. I don't know, to have a comparable lifestyle, and that's what I like. You're working less, than someone making 300K in Zurich. That's what I was trying to say.
Of course, yes.
And
yes.
Let's say if you were working the same as someone working at Google Zurich, but for a remote startup, then you would be making maybe 200K, and then you would be having the same richness of someone making 1 million per year in Zurich or something.
Of course.
And then this person is working more than,
Probably.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, as a VP of engineering, like at big tech, you only work.
It's going to get complicated. I don't know.
That's what I meant by like working less. Like,
I think I will take the jacket.
Okay. Yeah, you want to go inside also? We can if you want.
I think we can stay outside, but I need to.
Do you want someone? I can give you like maybe this even, or
I have the jacket.
Okay.
But don't worry, it's very warm.
Something, but I interrupted you. We were talking about remote, and what you think about the market and so on, and then we went on a tangent.
Yeah, right. Okay, so about the remote market, I think, like I haven't been following it recently, but I think it did not change that much. So as I said previously, in 2021, I tried to apply to a couple of companies, but of course I had basically virtually no experience and I did not know what to do. Basically my CV was not prepared for that. I had no interviewing experience of what I have now. So yeah, I wasn't really prepared for that. And of course, I got no responses back. I sent a couple of, I forgot the word, the word. Applications. Thank you. But I did not get anything done, basically. It was expected. I was not expecting to get something back, but I wanted to see how was the market. But basically, as it was in 21, it is the same basically now. You're going to compete with a lot of people, which are pretty good. And they are looking for a shift, perhaps a change of lifestyle. So perhaps they are motivated by that. Let's call it freedom to be more free, to perhaps work a little less and earn a little more while doing a great job. So, yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is you have a lot of competition.
Yeah.
What can you do to
stand out.
stand out? Well, what's happening is this. What I was trying to say also yesterday in the group meeting call. Basically, you have people with more years of experience than what is required in the position that are going to apply to that specific position, and so on, like from senior to junior. So if you're just getting started, of course, it's going to get to be really complicated
As a junior,
as a junior, or like graduate, something like that. It's going to be.
I agree.
It's going to be very, very difficult and competitive. Like you really have to stand out. Like the guy that basically busted all the Amazon internships, he's going to stand out for sure. Like having a line like that on the CV is going to help
Also, most of the remote roles are similar anyway.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah. For instance, like my company only hires like from senior and above. So that's also true. You're less likely to find that kind of position. Like let's call it lower level. Is not really like that, but like lower level positions,
seniority level,
lower seniority positions. Yeah. So what you can do is that if you are a senior and you find like a mid position, you can apply for the mid position, and then you can show that you're actually not a mid engineer, but perhaps a senior engineer. It's going to be easier to pass, let's call it the ATS gun, or basically all the automated stuff where perhaps there are human involved, but they're not going to look thoroughly throughout your CV. So you can pass that in an easier way by applying for a lower seniority position. I think that is the way to go. If you are undergraduate and you have no other position to apply, I think you need to perhaps reconsider your strategy.
You can start local, like on-site jobs.
Exactly.
Not local, like you can travel wherever you find a good job.
To continue my story, I did that in 2021. Like the looking for position, I did not find any, and I said, okay, maybe it's better to find a local company. And that's what I did.
You found a good local company.
I found a good local company. I learned a lot of things, like great experience, great colleagues. And then a couple of years later, I thought, well, it would be cool then. It would be cool to see some other things. And then, toggle happened.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. I think the optimal way, like, is if you're a student to get like good internships. If you get big tech internships, it's ideal. Yeah. I think it's also smart because it's not so hard. Like if you're good get big tech internship offers, I think many people can.
There are actually a couple of friends of mine that are still doing university. Like I'm trying to help them, of course, but basically there's no education on this. This is what I'm trying to say.
It's crazy, especially in Italy. Like I don't know why, but
basically nobody knows what to do next. And they perhaps apply to some companies, maybe consulting companies, big consulting companies, where maybe you're not going to learn that much. Then
they apply to my coaching program when they're 28. I mean, it's at the end of and these are like the ones that you see like content online. Like a lot don't even know. I have friends like they study with me and studied more than me, worked more than me at university, got all the best grades, and like I think they're still making like less than I made like a 22-year-old new graduate. Like this is to study.
This is exactly the point I made to one of my friends who was looking for. So he basically told me, I'm not really interested in remote because I want to work on site. So I told him, okay, that can be true. But you can only tell me this after you work on site for a year. Then you can decide if it's good for you. I think you will like remote.
Even if you like on site, like you still need to study how to get good jobs.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Like, my point, what I was trying to say, it was concealed in this answer. But what I was trying to say is that probably his first job is not going to be like the greatest jobs of all time. Like in my experience, my first job straight out of high school was not very good. Like I didn't learn much if it wasn't for one particular engineer who basically told me there were better ways to build things. And then COVID happened and I had like lots of time to learn how to build things in a better way. But yeah, basically he started it. If he didn't do that, maybe I would not be here today. I would probably be in the same company, perhaps.
Yeah. You need to find somewhere the information. For me, like I've always been online and like clicking stuff, like falling for the algorithm, and a lot of times it's just bullshit, but sometimes it is something good.
Yeah. Sometimes it is.
But when you find something good, you need to like dive deeper because the level of knowledge that is required to make a difference is not basic. Like I think a lot of people maybe they find something like and then they stop at the surface and then they don't go deep enough. Yeah. What do you think of paying for coaching? Like so for context, like you were in my coaching, you were actually the first person to apply.
First person.
First email. First
Nicola.
First email. I launched this coaching program like I think 1 year ago, more or less.
Yeah.
Even less maybe. No, I don't remember actually.
I think it was like in this period. It was in this
about
period.
1 year. It's crazy actually because now I'm doing a completely different life. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean YouTube. But I remember like launching this thing, and then I didn't know if anyone would apply because I thought like, okay, what is like because I was already like working as a software engineer before and like with a good salary and so on. So I had to put a price like for me it would be worth it to even start doing it. And so I put like already like first price wasn't low, and then I thought let's see if someone applies, and then like when I received the first mail I was like oh fuck. Crazy, like, and I thought this guy, like, it's an amazing guy. Like, he trusts me. I don't even know. I was so happy.
Sometimes you have to trust people.
Yeah, that's really crazy. Because
sometimes you have to do it. Like, I'm not going to say that most of the times you will be lucky, but sometimes you have to do it.
I have never paid someone for coaching, for example. Like for me, it's hard. Like, but I think it's wrong. And now that I also didn't have a lot of money to invest in a way. But now I sold my house yesterday, basically in Portugal. So I think for this next, like for this thing that I'm doing, like for business, maybe let's look at Masha, see what she thinks. Maybe I can pay myself for a coaching program. It depends. But for me, for example, it's a bit harder now because I would have to find someone that I think coaching is useful when you find someone that really knows exactly what you need. Like
I know the person for you.
Yeah, cool.
Mr. Anderson.
No, because for me, like right now, what I'm doing is a bit. I don't even know what I'm doing actually. First of all, but I'm doing like software, like SaaS, and
oh yeah, of course,
info product also kind of like coaching. It's kind of like category is info product, and I'm doing both. Actually, one guy I like who also proposed kind of to me is Steve is the one a life engineered. And he has a coaching program. So he worked as a software engineer at Amazon, like until a principal engineer. So he knows about software, even like from a product perspective. And he knows about the info product. So you know which one, right? The one that I did the host article in the newsletter. I think he's not bad. Like he gave me an advice also. Like he told me, for example, when I had the job board and I was charging like €5 and €50, he told me the price is too low. Like it can even it's so low that I would think it's a scam.
Okay.
Then I raised the price and it went better, but it's also better. I don't know. And one thing I worry about is that someone maybe has like a coach, so he's the expert, but maybe they are convinced of something that is not right.
Oh yeah, of course. Like bias is everything.
Yeah, like for example, when you went coaching with me, like did you think I just knew everything, or how did you find the value? Like
let me think, because viewers have to know this. Like my memory is not very good.
Yeah,
like maybe like logically wise, I can understand things.
Yeah.
Memory it is what it is.
Yeah, same as me.
Okay. So yeah, I have to.
Masha is laughing.
It's probably the name, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the name.
Memory is not good.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
like I have to tell you 3 times per day what I'm planning to do in the evening. Sometimes.
Yeah. I don't care. I'm joking. Okay.
Okay, so let me think. No, I think like for what I remember, of course, there were good points. You made some good points. So good. Perhaps I'm still trying to recall this, but on some things I perhaps did not agree. We talked about this. And
Like
we
what, for example?
well,
I don't remember.
of course, like I remember talking about something, but this I don't remember what.
Because in the end, also, like, I think this is also complex about coaching. Like,
We all have biases. Like,
and in the end, like, only you know what you want.
yeah, exactly. There's also like another thing to say, like personal experience. I worked for 2 years for a company. I changed company, and some of my perspectives changed with that because I saw things from another side. So maybe I would focus earlier. I would focus more on building something right, and now perhaps I focus more on building something that works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you were kind of more like a perfectionist developer.
Yeah, I've always been. It is not a pro. Sometimes it helps.
It helps to become professional.
Yeah, but yeah, that's basically that. Sometimes you have to deliver, and there are events, occurrences that basically you need to deliver faster, perhaps, and not have like a fully working solution.
80%.
80%, but it has to be there.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, I'm understanding more those kind of things.
I am the opposite. Like, I was always very good at just doing it, but never.
Okay.
Yeah, never like polishing. I'm not the most polishy, and that's for me. What I do now is better than my job as a software engineer because right now, like my this tendency is an advantage. I manage to ship, and in entrepreneurship, I think it's like a very important.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a developer, I would be like. I don't know, like code reviews, for example, like sometimes would really be like, oh my fucking God, like, some comments like nitpicking, like people nitpicking on the code reviews. I would be like, I cannot do this. Like,
Looks good to me.
Yeah, for me, like my code reviews would be like, I don't know, either something that like just aesthetical, like, something like cosmetic stuff that you can fix quickly.
Yeah.
I would do it. But I would like, I don't know, just fucking run the test. If it works, it works.
Yeah. Like in my previous job, I had basically a lot of ownership of the code. So I was nitpicking a lot of things. Now I'm nitpicking less, not because I do not have ownership, but because I chose not to. We will fix it later. That's basically it's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's
You-
not like
you
people
don't
are
have-
dying. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't. The important part, I think, is that, and at some time you have to fix it.
Yeah.
That's basically you need to plan for that.
It also depends on the products. Like if you're like, for example, when I work at Oracle, it was for a cloud service. Like that needs to be, of course, you cannot fuck it up too much because it's a cloud product. Then how a bug can
It spreads. Exactly.
is very bad. But if it is like like a feature of a banking UI, like I mean, it depends, of course. If it breaks the workflow, anyway, I think it's like a bit of a tangent. What's next for you? Like now, like to wrap it up, like it seems to me that you want to stay in Toggle in your company right now, and mostly like optimize your lifestyle or things like this. What else is on your mind?
So
For your career, like let's say now in the future.
Of course. So I think there are growth opportunities in Toggle. I would like to grow as a software engineer. I would not like to get into management. That I think is not like the right thing for me. I still like to code, press keys, do things like that. there's room to grow basically in Toggle. I think it's a good company, good life balance, work-life balance. So yeah, basically, I think I will be staying there. What's stopping me right now is taxes. So I will need to optimize that.
I cannot sleep anymore because of this 60% tax.
You have
I
no
mean,
idea. You
yeah, I
have no
mean, it's
idea.
crazy. Yeah, I can understand that. Sorry, go on.
Of course. Yeah. So basically, that's that. So I'm happy where I am. I will try to optimize for taxes. This is the next step.
Also life, no life quality. But what about
Yes.
life, for example? Like, as you're still quite young, 24,
I am quite
so
young.
you can explore and don't need to too much shit, like in the end, where you end up,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
roots or things like this.
Yeah, exactly. People from home don't take me as an old guy. But yeah, I mean, I want to be, I'm a chill guy. Let's put it like that. So I don't want to go.
Just a chill guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like to be.
Like the meme. I don't want to go party anymore. Like it is not for me. I mean, I will play guitar. I would love to have the time and put the effort into, I don't know, have a band, something like that.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, that would be
Hobbies,
very cool.
exploring hobbies, creating.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
very cool. Yeah,
Exactly.
should do that.
But yeah, not going clubbing. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, about like life optimization, I'm looking for things I like. For instance, I can name a little things that I like, but it's not really important. I mean, the important thing is to be good, to feel good, basically. That's it. To have a roof over your head, to have food on your table, and to be okay, basically.
Mhm.
But like from that, of course, I like watches, I like cars. If there's the opportunity, I would probably take it. I'm also like a big saver, so that also like plays a role. What I think I need right now is basically tax optimization.
Yeah, so you like to have a simple lifestyle, maybe
Yeah.
pursue your hobbies, optimize your finances a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not the type of guy that goes decides to go out to it every day. I mean, I can do it, but I don't need to do it. I don't feel the need to do it. I might do it though. But yeah, I don't need I don't need a Ferrari, a Porsche, a BMW. But if there's the chance, why not? I mean, some cars are
Give you something
pretty beautiful.
nice. Yeah, if you like cars, you like some expensive things.
Other things, I don't need a watch to tell the time. We have the phone for that. But of course, a couple of watches are pretty good.
You need to recommend me a watch because I have this Casio watch for 20 euros since forever. All right. What do you want to add something for someone who is watching? Maybe, I mean, in the end, if someone watches this video, is a story. I would put something like, I don't know, high-paid remote developer in Europe.
Mhm.
So if you have some, I guess if someone is watching is interested in that, if you have some advice for someone looking for such a position or something.
Okay. So let's start like from the basics. Let's call it like that. So my personal experience has been, I did high school. I did not know what to do next. I accepted a job from a local company. It wasn't the best. COVID happened and I had time to improve my skills. So my advice to all the younger guys listening is,
Or older, because
or maybe older guys.
24, so there are many people like even older who would be very
Okay.
happy with that.
My advice is try and build new things. Maybe you're using like an older tech stack. Maybe you have no experience. Build things, learn how things are done, like in 2025.
Like coding.
Vibe coding? No, that's a tough question.
Yeah, for jobs also it's not it there yet.
I would avoid like the plague vibe coding if you're new to software engineering. Like you have to avoid you don't need help. Like you need to spend time. basically.
Yeah, to understand a bit better.
And when you understand, you can use like tools like ChatGPT, Anthropic, Cloud, but you have to know what you're doing first.
Yeah, I agree. I think there will be not too far off, maybe the point where you don't need to understand a whole, like for example, let's say you code in TypeScript.
Yeah.
How much do you need to understand about like memory allocation, pointers, stuff like this? Not really.
You could. There are some cases.
Yeah, no,
when
you don't need to like. If you're like a front end or like a full stack front end heavy developer, you
front end heavy, no, you could not care, but depending on the scale at what you're working at,
depending on the level,
you could care. Like there are things like weak maps, weak refs, and things like that. But like it gets, you will learn it eventually if it happens to you. But like at a later point, if you're in your like engineering path, so you don't need to do it like straight away. This is my point. So yeah, you don't need to care. It depends, of course, on the language you choose and like the path you choose. Of course, you're not going to do like embedded programming in JavaScript.
Yeah.
That's not possible yet. I would like to add, but
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, if you don't understand, the problem is that, for example, me, like right now, if I like code with cursor and stuff like this, and I don't try to understand like everything. Like at first I would be like, okay, every line suggested I would read it, and now I don't do it. Like it's just not efficient.
Okay.
Like sometimes I just plug it in. I maybe I skim through it. I plug it in, run. I have ways in which like to test running code like more, and then for me it's faster to run than to read.
Yeah, of course.
But then if something is not working, okay. Also, first another thing is I do commits often. Like if I do a feature, I have commits, and then I do a code review.
Yeah.
So I do that, and whenever there is a bug, I know how to like trace back where the bug was introduced. And if you just learn to code like this, then you will have to code so much.
Yeah. I would say like if you start from scratch, I will still avoid this approach because you need to know what you're writing. But as you get like more experienced, you can start to not let's call it like not care about those things. But yeah, you need to know what basically is doing. What Nicola is trying to say is that he has experience, so he skims through the lines of code without looking at it that much. But probably if there was something wrong, he will catch it with a glimpse.
Also, I developed like an intuition, like with the years.
Yes.
So, for example, I know like this is just conditional logic comparing strings, and it's like okay, I don't need to read like if the string is correct. Like it's produced by a machine, I bet it's correct.
Yeah, exactly. The improvement on that could be unit tests, could be an improvement.
But I don't like the testing too much also because it's a bit cluttery, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course you need to have balance, basically. There are a lot of controversial opinion on unit testing. I
like to break, like, I mean, it depends on the scale also. Like my software is like really stupid, like I'm used by, I don't want to say many people, but not a lot. Like it's not Facebook. So if something goes wrong, like first of all, I can just revert it. Like, I push it to prod even, doesn't work. Like, there is it's not like nothing is going to happen. Like either I catch it myself, like right away I revert and I debug it, or even if someone like finds something out, they will send me an email, hey, and then I just put it in the backlog, to be honest. Or if it's urgent at work, it never happened also, by the way. So, but yeah, I agree. One should understand. And I mean, even if you're, even me, like I'm still learning also, even if I'm vibe coding, let's say.
We all are.
Yeah, in a way, like then you still learn, like maybe you need to, for me, just a tool, just like how you move your hands, like you type English instead of typing code, but in the end, I still need to know what's happening. Yeah, like what's on the data layer happening, what's on the control layer happening, and security, like, in the end, the functionality, you still need to understand how this works. It's just the code that maybe it's a bit more abstracted. For me, like it's just this is what's happening. It's just a more abstracted TypeScript kind of.
Okay. I see your point.
And for me, like honestly, like these tools, like these chats, They are kind of like interpreters for English.
Mhm.
This is how I really look at it. I don't. If you are asking me to problem solve, I read line by line. Like, if I say, for example, I want to implement this feature, then I read all the recommendation, like what it's doing. It's not like I let logic enter the code without me understanding the logic. Maybe I don't read the lines, but the logic I always struggle. All right, I think it's a good one to wrap it up. What are you going to do tonight, next?
Good.
Get some food?
Of course, get some food.
Are you going to go straight to the bar?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to get some maybe Polish food first and then go to the bar, or maybe go directly to the bar.
You can go directly to the bar, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like some snacks, and then you can just
Okay.
have a liquid dinner with some snacks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your last night. You can see.
Of course. I also need to wake up tomorrow.
And if you're hungry, you can go like afterwards to Noviciat.
Yeah.
And then you can find like some street food.
Yeah.
Just fill up.
Yeah, I saw a couple of places.
Yeah, like even pizza slices or things like this.
Yeah.
But if you haven't tried some Polish food, it can also be a good option.
I did already. It's pretty good. I will probably do it again.
Yeah, you can go either to one of the two that I recommend. They're very good traditional one, and they have live music also. I don't know if
That's
today,
good. It's good.
so you could have some fun there.
Well,
But man,
thank you.
thank
man.
you for trusting the coaching program and all the fun and support and whatever. I'm very happy that
Thank you,
found such a
Nicola.
good job and
Finally, we met.
finally meeting in person. Okay.